goes down. We're crunching the numbers, calling the plays, talking all sports in a big time way. Yeah, yeah. Spreadsheet sports.
Welcome back to Spreadsheet Sports. It is the 27th of March, and I am going to be sharing with you guys a little bit of everything. Um, Sweet 16, obviously, for those that are watching, it could be really, really exciting these next 2 days. And I think we all are going to be able to enjoy like the games from an entertainment value if you're a fan. I think you're also going to enjoy the games if you are um, into the monetary part with the betting aspect. It's just going to be a really good couple of days. There are a lot of dogs. There are a lot of potential dogs that the books aren't looking at. I think there are a couple that they are like overlooking, and we'll jump into that. It's going to be great. But what I wanted to do was I really wanted to dive into something else dealing with Sweet 16, and I wanted to take a look under the hood and really like dissect the coaches. Right. I want to look at the coaches. I want to rank the coaches, and I want to share that with you guys because I think at this stage in the tournament, what kind of dictates the success of a team is going to be a couple of categories. One of them is coaching. Obviously, one is going to be performance, um, and how they've been producing as a team, both on offense and on defense. You also got the upperclassmen aspect of it all in regards to like who has the better ratio of upperclassmen of like seniors and juniors because that's going to give them a better shot at having discipline and running a system that they've been running in place for for at least 2 years together as a team. So they'll have that unity. So when you think about that, I wanted to pull back the curtain and really look at these teams, and I wanted to look at the coaches, and I wanted to see what that looks like together because sometimes you can get like your mind can go off, somewhere else, and it'll be like, oh well, this team is the better team just because they have a better coach. Uh, Sometimes that might be right. Sometimes that might be wrong. Um, because it could be a really good coach with a subpar team. You do have some of those type of matchups in the Sweet 16 lineup. So definitely keep your head on the swivel. But before we go into all that, thank you guys for coming to the channel. As always, you guys are a blessing. Channel is growing. Comment section is flourishing, having some communication. People sending emails. Man, it's been an interesting ride for basketball, but we do have baseball coming up. Um, but let's dive into this show. Like I said, I do have this prepared for you guys, but I do have the games that I am identifying in another video. Okay, so find my other video. That's the preview of the games. This is the ranking preview, okay, of the Sweet 16 teams that'll be playing. Okay, so don't confuse the two. If you're here, you're in the right place because we're going to talk about the coaching. We're going to talk about how that's paired up with the performance of the team and see what the true ranking of those teams might be. Okay. But this is going to help you with understanding how I look at the games when I pull them apart in the other videos. Okay. So sit back and enjoy. Let's run through these teams and let's see what they look like. Um, and then we'll go from there. Hey, you see that we got some movement here. Okay. In regards to how you guys are looking at the games and what the marketplace is doing. And I thought this would be a really great place to start before we jump into the breaking down the coaching rankings and the performance rankings. This is going to be some data that's going to really help you guys with looking at the performance of the marketplace. The teams that are winning seem to kind of, their KPIs seem to be pretty consistent. Okay. They literally are operating right now at a pretty steady pace in regards to like, um, the KPIs of the defensive rebounds, which is somewhere around 23, right? They also, when you look at these teams that are winning, right, that are like favored to win and winning, they also are literally like, they have like a -1 or better defensive rebound difference between them and their opponent. These teams also have around 70% win ratio on the road. These teams also are projecting somewhere around 76 points in regards to like the points they produce as a team on their offense. They're also averaging around 11 points or better for fast break points. So with all of that being said, I mean, they're staying consistent. As you see the trend, they're not moving. The only thing that really kind of changed a little bit was the win-loss ratio on the road. Like the teams that didn't have as good of a win-loss ratio have won here most recently. So, you had that information, but then it changes a little bit when you're looking at the marketplace when you're talking about the dogs, right? Those that are the underdogs. You don't know if they're going to win, but they end up pulling out wins. So when you look at how they're performing, it's a little bit different because they're putting up around 23 points in regards to defensive rebounds, right? I'm sorry, not points, but defensive rebounds. They also are -1 or better for the defensive rebound difference. It almost looks the same as the winners, right? Where it changes is regards to like the teams that have at least 63% or better for their win loss ratio on the road. These teams also are producing 73 points, where the winners are producing 76 points. And then the fast break points, they only are having it. These underdog teams are like, they're 10 points or better on the fast break, whereas the winners are around 11 or better. So not too big of a difference. Probably your other biggest difference is going to be in the fast break conversion. The underdogs are converting 44% of the fast break conversion, whereas the winners they're converting somewhere around 51%. So with that being said, that gives you an idea of what the marketplace looks like, how it's moving, how to like really identify what teams might be the best probability in regards to who's going to win, who's going to lose. But just something I wanted to share with you guys as I watch the marketplace and watch the trends and watch the KPIs and just see what's going on. Um, it's interesting. It's quite interesting. I mean, you see that the defensive rebound points difference has actually started to take a little bit of a nosedive, right? Along with the average points for the dogs. So things are changing, and I just like to keep mind of that. And then sometimes I reverse engineer the filters on what teams I think are going to win based off of what the trends are. So something else that's tricky for you guys to use if you're into that. Now, I'm really not going to run my mouth too much about this, but I definitely wanted to run down it, right? Because like I said, let's pull the layers of the onion back in regards to the coaches. Okay. You have this here to screenshot it, knock yourself out if this can be very helpful for you. That's why I tried to maximize most of the screen for you guys on this. But this is just really running down the coaches that are in the Sweet 16. Okay. Tom Izzo, Michigan State, Nick Barnes, Tennessee, Kelvin Sampson, Houston, Matt Painter, Purdue, Bruce Pearl, Auburn, Nate Oates, Alabama, Grant McCaskill, Texas Tech, Eric Musselman, Arkansas, Tommy Lloyd for Arizona, Chris Beard for Ole Miss, John Shire for Duke, Kevin Willard for Maryland, Mark Pope for BYU, Dusty May for Michigan, Mark Pope for Kentucky, and Todd Golden for Florida. There we have it, right? So they're in that order, literally, right? As you see, I have a bracket here on close to the left that says AI coach ranking. That's the ranking that I literally asked AI. I asked OpenAI, like, hey, can you give me a ranking of the coaches that are in the Sweet 16? And this is what it thought. Now, the ranking that are on the far left are what I thought. So when I read that list down to you, it's literally in that order. But it's interesting to see how close me and AI actually came to ranking these teams. Well, ranking the coaches for these teams. And the things that I thought about when it comes to ranking the coaches, literally going to be, these categories that you see here. How long have they been coaching? Right? And you see some of them range anywhere from 6 years of coaching, 3 years of coaching to 30 years of coaching, 38 years of coaching, right? Some have been in this a long time. Some of them are just making their heyday, which is definitely something you want to consider when you're like, okay, this is a 3 year coach up against somebody that's been in the game for 38 years and they've been in several Sweet 16 or better appearances. Like, choose wisely in that matchup, right? But that's how I combined all of those individual categories to tell us like who's the best. Like even when you look at your top five, right? My top five: Tom Izzo, Rick Barnes, Kelvin Sampson, Matt Painter, Bruce Pearl. Um, there's a reason that they are in that bracket. As you see, Izzo has been to the Sweet 16 or better 15 times. Rick Barnes been there 9 times or more. It's crazy. Kelvin Sampson been to the Sweet 16 or better 8 times. Matt Painter's been there 6 times. Bruce Pearl's been there 9 times. And you see how big of a jump it is. It goes from 9 all the way to Nate uh, going to Sweet 16 at least 3 times. So like there's a huge difference in that gap of experience and when it comes to like the lights being too bright. And then there's the teams, the coaches at the bottom that haven't even been here before. So literally, you literally got 4 coaches that never been to a Sweet 16 before. Do you even like roll the dice with them? Something to think about. Something to think about as you're making your selections. Um, Career wins. Good God, man! Like Izzo has won 736 games in total. In 30 years. Rick Barnes, 835. Rick Barnes probably just got more wins because he's been doing it longer, but Izzo is on that track to probably mow him down on the career wins, probably before Izzo retire, maybe not, I don't know. Kelvin Sampson, he right there in the runnings as well, almost 800 wins. Um, Man, and then these guys are like they're so good that going to this level of the tournament is kind of normal for them. Last time all of them in the top five had been is like 23, 24, 22, 2008. Bruce Pearl's the only one that's been like the longest since he's been to a Sweet 16 or better. So like these guys, if I'm the other team, do I want to go against them? And I mean, that even brings up the whole thing about everybody wanting to talk about Duke, 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 Duke. And I give Duke their props. You'll see me talk about them a little bit more as we dive into performance, but oh man, I don't know if that's a bad thing that they got a young coach. And I'm not saying young like his age, but young in regards to his tenure. 3 years in the game, but he has a well-oiled machine with Duke. Well-oiled machine. Hmm. So anyway, I hope this helps you guys when it comes to like really looking at the coaches and pulling them apart. Um, the lights might be too bright for some people. Some of the more prestigious coaches might not have as good of a machine, but they're gonna have to outcoach other teams. We're gonna see a lot of chess being played these next 2 days with the coaches. It's gonna be amazing. It's gonna be amazing. But let's look at the actual like teams that are playing and see how they stack up against each other. When it comes to the performance, I'm a big advocate of performance over just a win record. I know people that really evaluate a team's greatness or their success off of just how many games they won. Well, how many they won over how many they lost. And I don't think that tells the true story, right? There's so many different things that go into performance and literally how they are, being productive, where they're being productive is like, are they heavy on defense? Are they heavy on offense? Are they well balanced? Are they like a set up and run a play offense, or are they a like on the fly, fast breaks? Are they a little bit of balance of both? Those type of things matter, right? Those are the things that attribute to the win, but also scheduling attributes to the win, right? And also, with that being said, they play in their conferences, you know, the whole season. So with that being said, they're playing against teams that aren't giving them as much of a competitive edge coming into this particular arena, right? So here we go with Brett, like really looking at these teams now in this order. I think that these teams are like, you know, obviously the top five, like my top five right now: Duke, Florida, Auburn, Texas Tech, Maryland, and Michigan right behind that. Tennessee right behind that. And Tennessee should be more because they're kind of like steady as she go. Alabama, Michigan State are like, you don't want to count them out, especially Michigan State with Izzo. Houston, Arkansas, BYU are like dogs to like they the dogs. I think they could squeak something out. They could squeak something out. Ole Miss too. Not too sold on Arizona, Purdue, or Kentucky, but I'm only kind of sold on Kentucky for today and tomorrow's game, only because of the matchup. And I'll tell you why in the other video where I talk about the preview of the games. I did look at the Kentucky game. So if you definitely want to look at that game, you can go to the other video and see that. But um man, in that order. I mean, it's for so many reasons. Again, this is big enough for you guys to take a picture of this if you want it. Um, it's just me breaking down literally how I look at these teams. And I don't rank conferences. I mean, I guess if you wanted to rank it, here's a good opportunity to rank it because of all of the people that appeared here at the Sweet 16, right? You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 SEC teams, and you got 1, 2, 3, 4, four Big Ten teams, and then you got one ACC team, and then you got Big 12, 1, 2, 3, 4 Big 12s, 1, 2, 3, 4 Big Ten. So, well distributed, except for ACC sneaking in. So I guess you could make the argument that SEC, Big 12, and Big 10 are really battling for um, the dominant level of that prestigious part of saying that they got the best conference. Going to be quite interesting. I mean, I also am looking at things like Lindy Sports magazine and how they really evaluate the teams on the onset of the season, but they were only like ranking them in the conference. But you know, that's that. I would look at that more so as an almanac, right? Because they're trying to tell you the future based off of what they have in place. But the other brackets, like what ESPN thinks about the offense, the defense, and where they're ranking them, um, I'm ranking also off of like my true conference ranking, and that's also the other stats that are involved with performance. Um, I have my true team ranking all the way over to the far right next to Lindy. That just kind of breaks down what I think in regards to where they are. But this is also the ranking in the NCAA. So even though they might be number 16, like Kentucky's number 16 in the Sweet 16, right? But they are 164 ranked team in my ranking. So I don't get too excited about them. This is why they're kind of at the bottom. Like I said, Arizona, Purdue, and Kentucky. It has to be a matchup specific scenario where I would choose them over somebody. Um, but when you're going into Ole Miss and like all the way to the top, that's where it's like either you a dog or you like a real contender or you are like real dominant. But this is again why Arizona, Purdue, and Kentucky kind of scare me in regard to choosing them unless it's a good matchup. Um, but yeah, I mean, everything is self-explanatory when you're looking down each column. Hope this can help you guys, and like you can literally make your minds up where you think something, where the performance might be, or just really to check yourself about where your team or your dog that you're really picking in these fights, like how do they play? Like, what are they doing good? Are they good in defense? Are they good in offense? Are they a good team in their conference, or like were they a bad team in their conference but they're now here? Like literally all those things matter. Like Auburn is a good representation of that, where they're good in their conference, right, but they don't do well in the conference ranking, right, but they still are a really good team in their conference because of their defense and their offense. You got to really look at it that way and pull them apart and not just be sold on some ranking from something like ESPN. Like, okay, national organization, this is what they do, but check it for yourself. You see my difference. I mean, on some of them, I mean, we all agree on Duke, but we don't agree on Florida. We don't agree on Auburn. I think Auburn is literally a number two team or number. Well, my data says that they're a number 9 team, but I think Auburn is really a number two team. I'm gonna tell you why on the, when we break it down and we combine the two, but I think Auburn is a number two team. And I think if it comes down to Duke and Auburn in the championship, I'm going with Auburn. That's not popular. It's not popular, but I'm going with Auburn for the money line. If everybody's healthy on both sides, and that'd be a really great game to watch, but I'm going with Auburn in that game. Nothing against Duke. I just think that Auburn is the bigger dog in this. I really, really do. And that's if Duke even make it to the championship. They still got some fighting to do also. I mean, it's really looking good for them, but they got to fight. They got to still play. When you combine these games, I mean, these teams, and you really look at like how they do what they do, the combination is like it really throws you off because like we were just talking about, right? Auburn literally in regards to performance is a number 9 team, right? That's crazy, right? So you got a number 9 team that's more like a number 3 team in the Sweet 16, right? That literally is now a number 2 team when it comes to how they perform along with the coaching ranking. So that coach matched up with the type of team they have kind of tell you what we're in for. And even when you look at this combo, it still like brings us back to Duke number one. No matter how you slice it, Duke's coming in with probably the only handicap they got is their coach not having as much experience. That's probably the only thing that they really got against him. Everything else is ironclad. Minus a number 10 ranking coach out of Sweet 16. What do you do with that? You got to play the game. Duke can kill you in so many different ways, so many different ways. But you know, this is what I think in regards to the ranking of the Sweet 16 teams. Feel free to get in the comments. Tell me what you think might be off and why you think one team that you're looking at might be a higher ranking than others. I'm definitely open to your perspective about it because I gotta know who is who because even after these games, we still got the next set of games. So I'd love to know why you think a certain team should be ranked higher or lower, because it's going to help me with my metrics on like recalibrating where a team should be in this particular list. But that's who I got. I got Duke, Auburn, Florida, Texas Tech, Tennessee as my top five. I got Alabama, Michigan, Houston, Michigan State, Maryland as my middle five, right? Like those are like should win with the right matchup. The top five are like winners pretty much against whoever you put them up against other than themselves. Themselves is a super dog fight. I just wouldn't want to try to pick, um, other than Auburn versus Duke. Um, and then your 11 to 16 crowd, somewhat dogs, but don't bet your house on it. They might give you an upset here or there, maybe if there's an unforeseen injury or something like that, or Lady Luck is on their side, but it's gonna be a tough one. But given the right matchup for them, they could pull something off. Especially BYU. BYU is like definitely a super dog. Kentucky is a dog too. Michigan is a super dog. Michigan State is a good team, and they got a great coach. And you see how that changes things? Like even with Izzo being their coach, with the performance of their team, they're now a number 9 team. They're number 9 team out of the Sweet 16, even with the number 1 coach. Just because the matchup between the performance and the coach. This is going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see how people are like doing their selections on like who they think can win, who's better than who. Um, it's not even all over the place. It's right there in your face to let you know like this is what it is. But good luck. I hope this definitely helps you guys in identifying like who you think may be the better teams or who's the dogs or whatever the case may be. But this is what I come up with, and this is what I'm going to kind of use as my tour guide through the jungle of the Sweet 16 to help me figure out who's the better team to choose, considering the matchups. So that brings us to the end of this show, right? And I hope you guys found value. I just wanted to share that with you. I had to. It's the nerd in me. I thought those numbers were pretty interesting. And literally, it just really gave me more insight in regards to how I'm literally looking at these teams and looking at how they're matched up and what are they really up against? Are they up against a good coach and a good team, or are they up against a good coach, a great coach, and a mediocre like team, right? Or are they up against a great coach that has a young squad, or is it a senior squad with a mediocre coach? Like all those things matter. Like literally, every detail matters. Literally, when you're looking at these matchups. But even outside the data, at the end of the day, the game has to be played. We're going to see some great games, I think. I think we're going to see some buzzer beaters, um, some upsets. Oh man, it's going to be great. It's going to be great. But definitely tune into the other video. I prepared something special for you guys for the pregame. I mean, the previews of the games. And then that way you can see, what I think about a nice selection or a handful of games and kind of just go from there, guys. But anyway, if you found value in this video, please like, comment, share, or subscribe, or in whatever order you deem so. And as I said, I hope you guys enjoyed the game. I hope you enjoyed the show, and I will see you later.
Yeah, lights on, game time, let's break it all down. From the spreads to the lines, who's up, who's down. We're crunching the numbers, calling the plays, talking all sports in a big time way.